This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everyone, let's start this session. So the last session we talked about the NoSQL. So today I'm going to talk about one small topic, that is SQOOP. And as I said yesterday also, it's not there in the market right now, but at least interview point of view we should be clear and go in that route. So before I start, now any quick questions from anyone? If you have it, let me know. Any questions? Anyone have it?
Question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Actually, in the Hadoop we have file, and in the HBase we have table. When we compare with the HBase and the Hadoop, so the column family is in the region, or else region is in the column family, sir.
Region is like this. Have a table. You have a column family. Region can be this.
Okay.
Region can be this. Region can be this. It depends on the size of the data. So initially, this is the region. Then it is scaling it. It divided into what? Two parts. Then this is also can be a region. Again, it is increasing. Then it can be a small region. Region is not. It's just a part of the rows and columns information. Okay.
Yes, that's what I had a confusion about it, because the file is divided into the blocks in the Hadoop, but when it comes to the HBase, it is in the form of table. So table is divided into the region.
Yeah. Okay.
So the entire table can be a region, or half of the part can be a region.
Yes, it can be. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Fine. Any more questions? You can, otherwise I'll continue with the introduction to the SQOOP and I'll start the examples. Okay. Coming to the SQOOP, call it as a Apache SQOOP. What is the SQOOP is it's very simple topic. There's not much to discuss here. So we have some database system. It can be anything, MySQL, Oracle, whatever it may be. And we want to insert this data to a multiple systems like Hadoop. If you have a data in our DBMS, we want to transfer this data from our DBMS to Hadoop. We can translate with the help of the scope. We can transfer to Hive. We can transfer to HBase. But when it come to reverse, it is only Hadoop to RDBMS. So RDBMS to Hadoop or Hive or HBase, these operations are called as a import operation, importing from RDBMS to the system, and Hadoop to RDBMS. This operation is called as a export operation. What exactly we have to learn in SQOOP is like what these two operations: how to import, how to export. So we will be having a predefined commands will be there. Those commands we have to understand. We need to play it now. It's nothing more other than this. No, the SQOOP is meant for only this purpose only. Okay, import, export from RDBMS to the system, Hadoop to RDBMS. So that's what I. So how SQOOP is came like what SQL on Hadoop, SQOOP. That is the scope, SQL on Hadoop now. Okay, so mainly people will use the scope concept like what? So whatever the data they have it in the traditional RDBMS, they want to migrate from their RDBMS systems to big data system. Then the first tool what they use like what? Scoop only. So nowadays, why it is not there in the market? Now it is in a attic stage now. It is in a killed state now. Okay. Why exactly it is not there in the market right now is Spark is completely supporting what you are expecting here. If you go for Spark, what right now Scoop is doing is like what it is supporting in a better way also, performance aspect wise, other details now. Okay, so that's the reason like what there is no need of Scoop in the market nowadays. That's the reason like what this project is stopped. If I go to Apache Scoop, you can see project has retired now. Now this project is not there. The last version of the project is like what 1.4.7. So it is compatible with the some versions of the Hadoop now. But right now we are in the latest version. May or may not be the compatibility will be going to come. But the intention is why it is not there also. I give an answer is Spark is the primary reason. Is that everyone is clear? What is the exactly scope and why it is introduced like what the main purpose is this diagram is going to convey to you. Okay, any questions? Okay, so then let first install the scope now. It's also very simple as like other things yesterday what we did now. Let me install scope 1.4.7 and we have a scope installation file. Just follow the 5 steps. Copy the file into work directory, extract it, update the basrc file, mistake. Add the basrc file, close the terminal, open it, confirm with echo. Then almost we are done. Only one extra operation we need to do it like what? For which database you want to play with the scope. It's MySQL, Oracle, Teradata, whichever the one. That corresponding jar need to be copied now. So right now we are playing with MySQL now. So MySQL jar need to be copied. And we have some integration issue is there due to that JSON jar also required now. I'm asking to copy these two jars under the scoop lib folder. Scoop lib folder. That's it. So we are done the installation wise. Okay, so if you want to play with that, so first there are some basic operation to verify scoop is working or not. We can play on the RDBMS. If you're only playing on RDBMS, like what, Hadoop is not required. When Hadoop is required, like what, if you are importing the data or exporting the data, then only Hadoop is required. Right now in my system, Hadoop is not there. Let me confirm it once. Hadoop is not there. Still, I want to validate my scoop, means I can validate with the database. Database is required now. Database is already running it now. You can validate with the database. And where the examples we have it, like what I have prepared a one more file called scoopcommands.txt. This file contains like what, all the commands which you need to practice it now. Okay. So first thing is like what, how to install the MySQL, how to uninstall, start and stop, connect with MySQL. These commands are given. Let me first connect to the MySQL. And writing is the password. Show databases. So we have some databases. I'm dropping the some existing databases which I'm going to create right now. So now I have only these databases now. So what is exactly my pre-request here is like what, I want to give some data. Based on the data, I have written all my commands now. So based on the data I want to press, that means I need to create some data here now. For that, I have written an example here is like what, how to export the data and how to import the data. Initially in my system, I prepared some data which is required for our practice now. Okay, then after that I exported, then after that I drop the database system. Okay, so then I have given a comments like what, how can I import back now. Right now we all follow like what is for, because in my system also that is not there now. So with these steps I can able to retrieve it back my data. I'm creating two databases, one is Kalyan, other one is SQOOP. And then after that I'll be running this command. This command should be in a normal terminal. Whenever you are going with this command, so you have be, this file should be under the work folder. Okay, so first of all the scoop inputs I need to copy. Let me copy the scoop inputs into work directory. So I'm giving the password. It takes some time, and parallelly let me also execute the other command. This won't take much time. That's done. So the only first one, it takes some time, that is also completed. So once operations are completed, if you look for show tables, we will be having some tables, and in these tables like what, having a data also. Main expectation is like what, I want to create this entire data like what, manually first. If you already have some existing data, you can also play with that, but right now in our environment we don't have the data now. I'm just proceeding with like what, this comments. Okay, hope everyone is clear. There's nothing scope till this point now. It's just a database concept. We need some data in a database now. We prepare now. Once we have the data for the scope comments, I'm going to start. Any questions, anyone on this concept till this point? It's just a database concept. Okay,
One question, sir. Actually, so when we are importing the data from the one database to another database, is the same process, sir, we need to follow?
one database to other database means what is your intention? I didn't follow.
Uh, so something like Oracle to MySQL, MySQL to Oracle.
That's the tools will be there. You have to follow with the tools. So it may not be always going to work because the syntaxes of the some of the databases like what, it doesn't work with other ones now. Those cases like what, it is not. So this is like what? So same database system, MySQL to MySQL I have taken now. Okay, MySQL to Oracle, that's not going to be work out these comments. Because every database having their own structures, they follow the standards, but they also supports like what? Some customized things also. That is a place like what? People will use some tools. The tools will help you to migrate it. Okay.
Oh, okay. So through the tools, we can connect two databases, right, sir?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So till this is nothing related to scope. No, we just need to prepare the data. I have prepared it now. Now from here onwards, like what? Our scope concept is going to start. So first thing is, if you want to connect to any database system, what are the basic things we need to know is connection URL, username, password, and driver class name, and jar file is required now. So in this document, like what the password I have given as a Hadoop, let me change this password to ORIENIT because my MySQL password is not Hadoop, it's ORIENIT. Let me replace it. I just change my file to get the right password now. So Scoop supports like what? Some tools. Scoop supports some tools. This is the tool name. There are different tool names are available now. List databases, list tables, eval, and import, export, code gen, like this, like what some tools are there. The name itself, it's going to give a clarity to you. Okay. So what is exactly this tool is saying, like what? Listing out the databases. It will try to connect to the MySQL, by providing the MySQL URL here, username, password. And I was not provided here driver class name. So how exactly Scoop is going to work? Based on the connection URL, automatically identify the driver class name. Now we no need to specifically define like what driver class name. It automatically identify that. So then continuation to that jar file. Jar file I already copied under the MySQL lib folder. Now that's the reason this command is going to work. If you miss the copy of the jar file, or maybe username, password, if anything is wrong, like what? This command is not going to work. Let's see. I execute this. What is the output that is coming? You can see like what? The databases which are available in the MySQL. Kalyan database, Scoop database, just know what I created. Maybe if you want to look at the same information in MySQL is like what? Show database command, we do it now. In execute show database also, we see the similar table, similar databases now. Okay. Not only database now, you want to look for like what tables. If you want to look for table, the connection URL should point to the some database now. In which database you want to look for the tables? Under Kalyan database. Kalyan database, I have 6 tables are there. All those 6 tables are going to show you. Okay. 1 second. Security details is not written. This command, just I missed the SSL part. Okay, now you can able to see like what this thing. So use SSL. So we are not in right now in a secure environment. No, right now our SSL is disabled. If it is SSL is disabled, no, I need to provide like what use SSL is false. Otherwise you see like what some exception related to the security aspect. It's not able to connect to fetch the data. So we can go like this. But instead of going like this, there is an alternative way. The best way is there like what? With the help of the eval command. Eval is like what? More useful command now. Instead of doing it like what? So import database tables or list tables like this, you can feel free to write any query. You want to write any query, you can write it now. So here you can write show databases, show tables, whatever it may be. Okay. And the problem with all these three commands, like what, everyone knows what is the username password. But if you look at this approach now, by anyone is looked at my query also, they can't answer like what, which database I'm connecting, what is the username password. Generally in real time, we follow this approach. This is for learning purpose. We do it, but in real time, like what, we follow the option file. We follow the option file. In this option file, like what, we will be providing the connection details. I have to correct the connection details. Just a second. Username, this SSL concept, password is ORIENIT. We just need to take care of the this corrections now and make sure that like would work. In older versions, like what, it is okay, but right now this version having a some connectivity issue is there. Now if I execute this, user doesn't even know by looking at this what is my username password, but still it is going to work. Currently I am connecting to SQOOP database. SQOOP database having a two tables. Tables in SQOOP is like what, one is a pet, other one is a students. Now this is what generally in real time people will follow now. Okay, is everyone is clear? So here we are not done any import and export now, just we are able to connect to the database system or not, we just validate it. So we are able to connect it. That means we can able to read the data or write the data from database system. So then after that, like what, whatever the data we are reading it, can we write or not? So for that purpose, like what, we need to start the Hadoop. I'll be going to do that right now. I'm going to start my Hadoop, but before that, any quick questions? Anyone have it? Let me know. Whatever the commands I just listed out till this point, any quick questions? Okay. So if not, let's try to understand the concept of the scope, how it is going to work when we do import operation or export operation. Give me a minute, I have to construct that. So this is my data. Assume I have a table. The table having a data is this. How exactly Scoop will do import operation? So that import operation depends on the number of mappers. It depends on the number of mappers. So this entire data will be divided into a how many mappers we have it now based on that. Suppose So assume it if you have number of mappers are 1. So whatever the data we are reading from database now, this everything will go into a single file. So let me do that. If it is number of mappers are 2, this is divided into a 2 parts like this. If number of mappers are 3, just a minute, it's almost done. So this is the concept here. So this is our original data. If I say number of mappers are 1, this entire data will go to a single file. Whenever it is writing in HDF is a file format. Whenever it is writing into a file, it will be write in a text file. There are different options are there: text file, sequence file, arrow file, parquet file. By default, which format it is going to write is in a text file. And when it is writing like what text file, what is the field separator? We have to differentiate between these are the two fields now. What is the field separator is by default is comma. And coming to the number of mappers, how many mappers by default you will be having it like what? Number of mappers are 4. By default, number of mappers are 4. If number of mappers are 4 like what? This data will be dividing into a like this. If number of mappers are 3, dividing into like this. Number of mappers are 2, dividing. Number of mappers are 1, everything. So you can define like what, how many mappers we want, but by default, number of mappers are 4. Delimiter is comma, which format is text now. So that's what is the one important thing. And also how the splitting is happening. How this splitting is happening is based on the primary key. Assume it, this ID is a primary key. Assume it if ID is a primary key. Based on this ID column, like what it is going to happening now. Based on this ID column. Suppose assume it if the primary key is not there. If the primary key is not there, so SQOOP doesn't know how to split the data. So primary key must and should be there now. So if it is not there, it doesn't know how to split the data. So in that scenario, like what SQOOP is saying, like what, I don't know how to execute. You instruct to me. You instruct to me like what, how you want me to split the data. Okay, or else you want me to go as everything as a one file. No, I will go with. So by default, number of mappers are like what, 4 will be there. So at that time you have to instruct the SQOOP like what, -m1. -m1 means like what, everything will go into a one file only. That time splitting is not required. So or else we have an option called split by option will be there. Based on the split by like what, you can specify either id column or id column. So primary key is important. If the primary key is not there, SQOOP doesn't know how to split automatically. We have to instruct the SQOOP like what, you need to split by specific column, or else don't split it, just go with like what, everything as a one record. So this is what like what at the time of import, how exactly SQOOP is working. Okay, any question anyone on this concept? If you have it, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to show you how to write this in a query. That's what only what we need to learn now.
Sir, how many number of mappers, how it is distributed, sir? Because in the Hadoop actually by default we are taking the number of blocks equal to number of mappers here, and in the
That
SQOOP
is
how,
blocks. That is blocks. Here it's a table.
yes.
Input is a table. The input is
Mm-hmm.
a very bigger table. So then
Okay.
going with one mapper is makes sense, or multiple mappers. That is what the example here now. So how much parallelism you want, you can instruct it. By default, 4 is the parallelism. If you don't define anything, by default, how many mappers will go? 4 mappers. The entire
Okay.
data divided into 4 parts.
Mhm. Okay, that
Okay,
is different. It is this is different.
it's driven
Thank you.
from table, not from file.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see the same concept practically once. So these are the points now. Storage wise, there are 4 storage options. We have it now: text file, sequence file, arrow file, Parquet file. By default, storage option is text file, and by default, delimiter is comma. By default, number of mappers are 4. In SQOOP, mainly we have only mappers, no reducers. Generally, when we use reducer, aggregation operation, we are not doing any aggregation operation. We're just transferring the data from DBMS to Hadoop. That's not an aggregation now. Okay, and the table might have a primary key or may not be. The primary key does not there. So either you have to mention like what -m1, number of mappers are 1, or else split by which column wise you want to split it. We have to differentiate now. And also whenever we are using the SQOOP operations like what, we use 2 keywords now. One is warehouse directory, other one is target directory. Suppose I have a database, in that one table is there. If I use warehouse directory, what happen is whatever the directory we mention, in that directory like what, table folder will be going to created, under that output of that data is going to be there. If it is a target directory, there is no extra folders now. That itself is a final directory, output will be there. So generally we use this warehouse directory like what, importing multiple tables. We can also import a multiple tables. When you import a multiple tables, all table data keeping in a one folder doesn't make sense now. Every folder has like what, folder wise, better to keep it now. Table 1 data, one folder, table 2 data, one folder, like that. For that purpose, like what, warehouse directory. If you don't use warehouse directory, then all tables data will go into one place. That is what target directory. Difference between this target directory, warehouse directory is that one. And also previously I have shown like what, option file, connection details file now. Generally we will keep the permission is 400. What is the meaning of 400? Like what, only the user who created, only he can read, others are not possible to read now. Okay, and we can keep that file in local file system or HDFS, but in real time we keep it in HDFS only. So previously I have shown the command like what, keeping under the local system, but in real time we are going to keep that file in HDFS now. These are the some important points which you need to remember whenever you are playing with the SQOOP now. So is all these points are clear? Now you will be going to feel it like what, through command wise when we are executing also. This is what I explained it. in a table structure also I have shown to you. Same thing you will be feel with the practically now. The only challenge is like what, these commands will take some time now. Okay, we have to execute and wait for the response. Let me run it, and after that I'll discuss the things. Otherwise, like what, we'll waste the time. So currently I have executed this command. What is exactly this command is like what, importing all the tables. Importing all the tables. When I say tables, I need to talk about some database. Okay, so under Kalyan database, all the tables I want to import. In Kalyan database, I have totally 6 tables are there. In Kalyan database, I have 6 tables are there. So oh, this will be going to fail. This command will be failed. Need to correct it. Okay. So what is this one is like what, by connecting to this database by providing a username, password, and warehouse directory I use. Why I use warehouse directory here is like what, because I'm importing all the tables. Entire data keeping in a one folder doesn't make sense now. That's the reason when I use warehouse directory, what happening, whatever the tables I'm importing, the table name, then output, table name, output, like that it is going to come. And whenever you're importing all these tables, if you write the only query till here, all 6 tables are going to imported. Maybe I don't want to import all 6 tables. Some of the tables I want to exclude it. Some of the tables I want to exclude. Right now I'm excluding like what, 4 tables. 6 minus 4, you will be going to importing right now only 2 tables. Now this command will be going to import into 2 tables. In which location is, this is the location. Let me go to the HDFS, look at this location. Will not, okay, it's not yet started. It's a time taken one, you have to wait. Just understand 2-3 commands, remaining commands are similar, it's easy to explore. You can see only mapper is executed, no reducer, because we are not doing any aggregation. This is the second table. If you press enter, first table is completed. So under this, How many mapper outputs we are going to see? Like what? 4 we are going to see. Mapper output, mapper output, mapper output, mapper output. Why 4 mapper outputs here? What is the reason?
You have taken the data warehouse.
Why 4 mapper outputs?
By default.
By default 4. Can we change it? Means yes, we can change it. By default is 4 now. In this example, I was not provided any mapper information. By default, like what? 4. Maybe if you want to provide it, you can provide like this. If you provide like this, so here number of mappers are 1 we are saying. I can say 2, I can say 3, I can say 4 also. Right now, we are not provide anything here now. So it will be everything is like what? 4 now. And in each file, it's a text file or not? Look at now. By looking at this, you can feel it. It's a text file or not. And this data is readable. And delimiter, if you look at now, it is a comma separated. The delimiter is like what? Comma separated. That's what the points. Number of mappers are 4. It is a text file. Delimiter is comma. Can we override all these things like what? Yes, we can change the delimiter. We can change the storage option. We can also change the number of mappers. All these are possible. But right now, by default, it is went like what? Everything is whatever it is. And also one more table is there. Why? Because we excluded the 4 tables. Then 6 minus 4 is like what? Only 2. 6 minus 1 is only two tables are like what? Done this one. That's what like what? Import all command. Maybe I don't want to import all comments. I want all tables. I want to import only one specific table. Only one specific table. Then we can go with the import is the command. Import is only meant for one table only. Import all tables is for like what? Multiple tables. Okay. So if I want to import specific table, again same connection details, everything is we have to write, but we need to specify what is the table name. We need to specify the what is the table name, and these are all not a mandatory again now. So just till this part is the primary thing. So what is this one is like what? Which format? By default is a text file. If you don't mention also, not a problem. And target directory like what? Where you want. So after that, if I don't write this in this use case, what happened? Let me show you. If I execute only till here, let's check the message. Okay. Can you please everyone read this? The import is failed. What is the reason?
Key. No primary key.
Yes. Okay, you can have a table in RDBM as primary key without primary key also. In previous use case, primary key is there. Automatically import is happen. But in this scenario, primary key is not there. If the primary key is not there, it is forcing you like what? Either you have to use the split by option, or else like what? Minus M1. Minus M1 is like what? Sequential operation. Split by option is like what? It is clearly instructing like what? Try to split the data like what? Based on which column. Okay. So it is our requirement wise like what we need to follow it. No? Right now I have 2 examples with minus M1 option as well as like what? Split by option also. So I will be running both the commands now. So here the data in a text file and number of mappers are 1. And if I go with the other use case, here number of mappers I was not defined. I can also define here now. Number of mappers I was not defined. It will go for mappers now. And how the splitting is happening like what? Based on the name column. Based on the name column, because pet table doesn't have a primary key. Either you have to specify this or else you have to specify this. That's what is the one of the important point we have to remember when we are playing with the SQOOP import operation. Okay? This execution will take some time now, but the primary key concept is there. What happened if the primary key concept is not there? What happened? Is that everyone is clear on that point? That's what the diagram point of view what I conveyed to everyone also. Okay, if it is a primary key, it automatically take care of. If not a primary key, either you have to say -m1 or else we have to specify it. Any question, anyone on this?
If you mention any one of it, so it is not going to throw any error, right, sir? Either it can be a primary key or else the number of mappers.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, and the number of mappers are decided by the depends upon the primary key we are mentioning.
Number of mappers is based on your need. I said it's a table, how much data you have it. Based on that, you have to decide it.
By default, it is 4, but so actually, so it is
What you
depend.
can change it, correct? You can change it. Is it or not? You can
Yes,
change
yes.
it. By default is 4. You can change it to 2. You can change it to 3. You can change it to 4. See, if you have a huge amount of data, okay, then going with 4 mapper, your operation will take more time. You can have 10 mappers, 20 mappers. The output will execute more parallel. Isn't it?
Yes, yes, understood. But sir, the example we have discussed that the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, it is divided into the 4 parts. So it is by default it is divided, not on the primary key, right?
No. That's a wrong statement. So the division, the splitting part always happen based on primary key. Splitting, okay, based on which column splitting is happening is primary key. So is it 4 parts or 3 parts are decided by the number of mappers?
Okay. Number of splits equal to number of mappers.
That is always. That's a mapper terminology. You're confusing with mapper terminology with the SQOOP terminology. Come out of that one in the mind. Here split by is a keyword. How the split logic need to be written. That's it only.
Okay.
Don't confuse the terminology. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now right now, if you look at what both are executed in pet m is a mapper scenario. I have the only one file. Pet split by it is also executed. I got a 4 now. Why? Because number of mappers are not defined now. By default, number of mappers will be 4 will be there, and splitting is happening based on the name column. Okay, that's what exactly this example now. Then after that, what else exactly SQOOP supporting now? Is this the only feature we have at SQOOP is what? No, we have little enhancements also there. I'll just walk through all those things. I'm not executing it some time now. Okay, but how it is going to work, I can just tell you by explaining this. Right now, what I did select star now. Select star kind of scenario, complete table now. But sometimes complete table is not required. Some part of the table only. Maybe some specific columns only we need it now. Okay, so how to handle those scenario? Example is I have a table with 10 records here, 20 records, 30. Totally 30 records are there. Here I did till 10, here I did till 20, I did 30. Okay, assume it what? First I want only these records only I want to insert it, not entire table. So that is a place we have an option called boundary query. You can mention what in the table what for boundary from where to where. Record 1 to record 10. You can mention what record 1 to record 10 or record 11 to record 20, record 21 to record 30 or else 1 to 30 also you can mention. The boundary is the one we can. And also whenever we are running any MapReduce program, you know it what output directory should not exist. If output directory is there, it is going to fail now. So for that what we use a keyword called delete target directory. Whatever the target directory you're defining it now, If the directory is there like what upfront we want to delete it like what, we can say delete target directory. And this table having a assume 4 columns are there. I don't want all 4 columns. I want only like what 2 columns or 3 columns like this. You can also mention like what columns now. So what SQOOP is providing an option for us like what, we can specify the boundary, we can specify the what is the columns, what are the columns you want to import it, and also like what do you want to delete the old directory or not. Okay, along with like what whatever we discussed previously, number of mappers split by extra, these options also you can see it now. Is that point everyone is clear? What is the purpose of boundary query means? Okay, now if you look at in this example boundary query 11 to 20 I return. So 11 to 20 when I'm going now, so already 1 to 10 I have imported now. So do you want to delete this 1 to 10 and you want to keep it 11 to 20 also, we can decide it now. Suppose if I say append, if I say append, what happens is like what, this 1 to 10 won't be deleted, 1 to 10 will be there, 11 to 20 will be added. Suppose in place of append, if you use delete target directory, 1 to 10 will be deleted, 11 to 20 only will be there now. So in real time what we do it like what, we will be going to maintain like a previous information or not. That depends on the append keyword or delete target directory. Append means the history will be maintained now, new records will be added. Delete target directory means entire old data will be deleted and new one will be inserted now. And we want to define -m1 in an alternative way like what, you can say num -mappers, you can say delimiters by default is like what, comma. Maybe you want to change it to like what, some other delimiter, colon, semicolon, pipe symbol. Line separator is /n only, by default is /n, and you want to change it means doesn't make sense. No, generally people won't change the line separator because the visibility is very hard now. So these delimiters, if you want to change it also, you can change it. This is the alternative way of writing -m1. You can write -m1, you can also write alternative way. Sometimes like what, you will use split by and with the combination also. So these are the some options like what you have it here in this examples. Okay. Before I talk about these two keywords now, is this keywords everyone is clear? Boundary query, append, target directory, field, line, these keywords. Any question on that?
Can you explain that boundary query once again, sir?
Boundary query is you have 100 rows are there. You
Okay.
want only like what, some specific rows, 1 to 10 rows or 1 to 30 rows or 40 to 50 rows. You just define the boundary.
Okay.
Only those rows only will be going to come, not everything.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So what is append? What is append? When to use append? Please. The name itself is conveying. Don't be silent. Append.
Existing data will be there, new data will come.
Existing data will be there, new data. Suppose existing data I want to delete it. What I need to use? Delete target directory. Delete target directory. Okay. So by default delimiter is comma. Can we override or not? Yes. By default delimiter is like what, you want to change it, you can. And line separator, generally we don't change it now. For line separator we use it. Number of mappers, alternative ways like what, -m1 or else you can write like this. So split by is like what, how you want to split the data. Suppose your table doesn't have a primary key or you want to control how you want to split the data, you will go with the split by. Split by which column name you want to split it, you can. And other than that, there are two more keywords we have it now. Out directory, bin directory. What is exactly these two things is? Out directory, bin directory. So what is this out directory contains now .java files. What is this bin directory contains now .class .jar files. Whatever the folder we given now, in this folder, like what scoop will do, like what it created .java file, .class file, .jar file now with the name of the table now. Let me execute once. And I will execute this command. So currently I'm executing in my local system with the root directory. So that is the home directory. In this home directory, if you look at those two folders will be there. Bin files. There is one more. Jar file, Java files. So this Java files contains like what? The table name with the .java, student.java, and it contains like what? Student.jar, student.class. So these are generally like what? Useful for people who want to develop the code in Java. So what scope will do, whenever you execute any import command, export command, like what? With the table name wise, categories.java, department.java, pet.java. These are the tables like what previously we executed. With the table name wise, like what .java files will be created here now. But I don't want in a directly in the home directory. I want in some specific folder. You can provide that. That's what like what this directory option. It's not a mandatory. But people who want that files in a specific location, they will go with that. So for using that class to write the code now, if they want to write some code on top of that, they will go for this. This is not that much important, but keep in mind that. Okay. So what is very important in real time we play in scope is like what? Query. All these are like what? Not generally. Because all these whatever we are doing it like what? That can be done with the simple option called query. Query option exactly, it is more powerful and most frequent. 99% we use only query only. The all other options are like what? Temporary option, just alternatives. Okay. What is exactly the query means like what? With the help of the query, not only one table, more than one table, like what you want to do, union operation, join operation, maybe like what, any other filter operations you want to do it now, you can. Right now what I have written in this query, like what? Ordering the order table, order item table, I did a join operation. Okay, but only one point we have to keep in mind is, are you importing the data? Are you evaluating the data? This query, generally we use it in two places now. One is for scoop import command. Second one is scoop eval command. If it is a scoop import command, the query, whatever the query we are writing now, at the end of the query, we have to use a keyword called $condition. At the end of the query, it should end with like what? $condition. If it is like what? Not import, here it is a eval, then this one is not required. It should be like this. So that is the expectation from like what scope now. Okay, whenever we are doing a query operation, whenever you're doing a query operation, is it an import command or eval command? If it is an import, it should end with $condition. If it is an eval, it's not, doesn't require that one. Okay? So why generally we use this query like what? Complete query, feel free to, you can write it down. Whatever the query we want to write, feel free to, you can able to write. Select say table 1, join with table 2, you may join with table 3 with union of something. That end of any complex query you want to write it like what? The result of the query, the result of the query, it is going to be inserted. This is what very important one now. Okay, any question, anyone on this? Okay, you can execute. No, I am skipping the execution part because this execution might take some time now, but conceptually if you can understand, that's more enough. Can someone tell me by looking at this what might be, what are the functionalities we have it here? What is that query is doing? You could able to answer. There's nothing hard in that query. Please. Why silent? All are silent. All the keywords we covered, and which is not covered also by readability is there. You can able to answer it. This is import. These are connection details. This is a table where you want to import it. Deleting the previous one. Delimiter we return. Lines are written. Number of mappers. This is a where class. This is the where class we return now. And id less than 10 means like what? Where id less than 10. So in the table, id less than 10 is going to out directory is like what? Java files to keep it. So same thing like what? In an alternative way of writing is like what? You can write a query. If you are writing a query, this table keyword won't be there. Okay, because the query will contain internally table. Whenever we are doing import with query means it should end with the dollar condition. And here I'm going with the append means like what? Already 1 to 10 it is there. Now 1 to 20 will come. So to skip 1 to 10, we have a concept called like what? Incremental approach. In that incremental approach, like what? These three columns will come into the picture. Which column I want to check the last value? id is the column. What is the last value is 10. Then append. So if you write these three things, what happen is like what? This entire command will import from 11 to 20. If I don't write this query will import like what? 1 to 20. So depends on our requirement now. Okay, depends on our requirement. We will be going to write this incremental approach. When we go like what? We will be going to provide like what? What is the column? What is the value? And how you want to? It's a append operation is you have to give instruction as a append. Incremental approach is the one of the concept like what important in the scope now. And how generally people will execute like what? Not like this. We have a concept of job. People won't execute these commands like this in real time. How they execute like what? With a job approach. They will be going to create a job. Scoop job hyphen create job name. The entire command they will be going to write now. If they write like this, the job you want to execute like what? You can go by exit command. You want to delete the job means like what? Delete command. You want to know information about the job like what? Show command. You want to list out the job means like what? List command. There are totally 5 commands. We can create a job. We can see the information about the job. We can execute the job. We can delete the job. We can list out the job. So these are the 5 commands like what job. So reusability point of view. The main purpose of this job is reusability point of view. You will be going to do it now. Okay, so I'll just execute this, but before I do that, any quick question? Anyone have it? Okay, let me execute now. First, I'm executing the list. We are not to do any jobs now. The job list will be empty. Available jobs are empty. Now, if you want to create a job, you can create with this job command. So here list database is our goal here. So like this, you can create a number of jobs. Right now, I create one job. And now if I say list, it will list out that job. Available job is my job one. And if I want to know information about the job is show my job one. So here it is asking the password, but in real time, we can't enter the password now. So the problem is like what in this approach, like what I did a one small mistake because of that, because I want to showcase that issue to everyone now. For that purpose only, I have written that mistake now. Whenever you are creating a job, we should not provide a password directly. You should not provide a password like this. what we supposed to do, like what we need to go with the password file. There is an option called password file. So that should be like what path of the one file in a local file system, or it can be from HDFS now. So that way, like what we will be going to do it now. Okay. Those things like what I will just cover in tomorrow's session now. So please make sure that like what everyone just verify till this point now. And then after that, like what there are other integration and in real time, how generally people will do like what job approach now. That's what the last important use case I'm going to cover, and I will hold that point to the tomorrow. So please everyone practice it. Any questions you have it now, you can ask me in the next session now. Okay. Before I hold it today, any quick questions? Okay then, thanks. Bye.